Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Chana Vallabha Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradari Khatos Yashoda Nandana Rajajanarandana Yashoda Nandana Rajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Shayarana Madhava Kunja Bihari Shayarana Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Rajajanarandana Yashoda Nandana Rajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jayarana Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayarana Madhava Faster Kunja Bihari Jayarana Madhava Kunja Bihari Mridanga Faster faster. Jaya Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamunatira Banachare Yamunatira Banachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Radha Madhava ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter Madhya Lila, chapter 22, the process of devotional service. We're reading from 101 to 105. Tavasmiti badan vacha, tateva manasa vidan, tatstanam ashritastan va, modate sharanagataha. One whose body is fully surrendered takes shelter at a holy place where Krishna had his pastimes. And he prays to the Lord, "My Lord, I am yours." Understanding this with his mind, he enjoys spiritual bliss. Purport. The last two verses appear in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. So, I will continue reading, but shortly to this verse. So here we hear about devotional service in a very surrendered way, because he had said that someone who is very surrendered, he will take shelter at a holy place where Krishna had his pastimes, like Vrindavan, like Mayapur. In our tradition, mainly these two places. You will take shelter at these two places. You will live there. You will give up everything, like the sadhus. They go to this place and they are just surrendered. They don't go there to build a big house with a garden or swimming pool or something. They go and live very simple, with nothing but their devotional service. Maybe even beg some alms, live by the mercy of the Lord, and don't need anything. And they can do that because they are very surrendered. They can take this austerity because they have a deep desire and deep longing and deep happiness to worship Krishna. They experience so much happiness worshiping Krishna that they can tolerate anything. Yeah, so we can see how surrendered we are in how much we can tolerate anything. Atma Ramascha Munayo Nyakranti Urukramet said, a devotee is self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything for his satisfaction. He's so happy, and so happy worshiping the Lord, and he can tolerate anything. He doesn't even have to tolerate, because there's nothing for him to tolerate. He's just happy. A normal person cannot do that. Cannot do that, because a normal person, or we as a normal person, have so many desires and requirements. Okay, I can do devotional service when this is there, 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 this is there. And then I can do devotional service. But if this is not there, I cannot do devotional service. Right? Like Ekadashi, there we can see. Oh, difficult for some. Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi, or if you do some Vrata, suddenly it's very difficult. Not so easy. So But he has spoken about a person, he said, whose body is fully surrendered. The body is fully surrendered. So there are no requirements for the body anymore. Almost nothing. So it's a very high stage of consciousness. Yeah, very high. Yeah. So then such a person naturally will go to a place where there's Krishna, worship of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada created such places all over the world. So actually the temples should be embassies of the spiritual world. Like this place here, this temple is an embassy of the spiritual world. So in that sense, we don't have to go to Vrindavan. Yeah, we can do this same here. And there's so many such places all over the world. Germany also, so many temples are there. And someone who is bodily, he said, the body is fully surrendered, heart is fully surrendered, he can go there and say, I can now worship Krishna. This is so nice. And sometimes people come here and they say, I just want to serve Krishna. I'm done with the material life. I have nothing to do anymore. I was also like this. I have found the devotees, and for me that clicked. And I gave up my material life and was happily serving the Lord and was not thinking what will come tomorrow. I found it, you know. It's okay. Yeah. Sometimes devotees come and they want to worship the Lord, but then they see, I need something more, some requirements. And then they say, yes, Krishna is good, but still, I have other ideas still. And then they cannot stay in the temple. They cannot stay in the holy place. They are leaving again. It's fine. Everyone has his capacity. But then they have to get some work, own flat, and all that. Yes, that is also okay. It's no problem. But if someone is very serious, he wants to just serve Krishna. And the Hare Krishna movement is an offering. It's an offering. Prabhupada created like this for those who say, no, I don't want to reach anything in the material world anymore. I just want to serve. And for such people, there's a place in the Hare Krishna movement, right? In the temples, living in the association. Because they have no requirements. They don't come here and say, oh, okay, I want to chant Hare Krishna here, help a little bit, but I need a big paycheck. Yeah? Or I need a big house. Or I need special food. They say, no, I'm so happy, I can serve here, and whatever Krishna gives me is fine. They even go on Sankirtan, live in a small car, in a van, with one or two others, which is very austere, very austere. You don't even have a toilet in this car. Now sometimes they have campers with a toilet, but when I was in my van, I was traveling, I had no toilet. So every morning you have to find a toilet. Not even that. This is extreme. Okay, I see. This is not. Oh, this is only. This is pure devotional service. Okay, no toilet. This is not the point. And it was like this. Yeah? Every morning you have to find a bathroom somewhere in the school or in a public toilet or whatever you find. Yeah, this was a big. And no shower. Shower you take outside of the van, on the street, in the winter. Yeah, but we were happy. That was great. Serving Krishna, being free of any material worries. No boss at your work who is on your case. Why you come so late? Where you have to give this paper at that time, and if you don't do this, we kick you out or something. Always some trouble or worries. I was so happy. No worries, and no school, no university, nothing. Just serving Krishna. Yes. So here is spoken about such devotees who are really, you can do that, who can do that. Yeah. So actually great souls join the Hare Krishna movement. Great souls join the Hare Krishna movement. Yeah. Who are really pure in heart. Pure in heart. It's very wonderful. Text 2. Sharanalana kare Krishnem atma samarpana Krishna tare kare tat kale atma samma. When a devotee thus fully surrenders unto Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna accepts him as one of his confidential associates. Yeah, if someone is really going to Krishna and says, listens to Krishna's words when he says, Sarva dharmam parityaja ma mekhang sharanang vraja ahang tvang sarva papebhyo mokshaishyama shuchaha. Every devotee knows this verse. Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja. Parityaja means give it up. Don't need it anymore. What? Sarva, all. Dharman. Dharma, all dharma. This verse comes in the end of Bhagavad Gita. After Krishna spoke the whole Bhagavad Gita about dharma. He says, give it up. Give up the dharma. Yeah, give up all the dharma which is more or less not bhakti, which is not devotional service, which is not love to me. You can give this up and fully surrender unto me. Mam ekang sharanang vraja. Fully surrender to me, only to me. And I will take care of you. I will save you from all your karma. I will accept you. And this is said here. If someone is so surrendered, Krishna will accept him. Krishna will accept him. Yes, you are mine now. I will take care of you. I will help you. I'm there for you. So we should have faith in Krishna's words. Yes, I can surrender to Krishna. He will take care of me. He will take care of everything. Krishna is a very, very merciful Lord. Very merciful Lord. And devotees know that all what I have in life is only by Krishna's mercy. We should know that. Everything comes by Krishna's mercy. Of course we think, a little bit by my karma also. I must have done something nice. But a devotee doesn't think like this. Because Krishna gives only the karma what is good for you and takes away the karma what is bad for you. Yeah, so a devotee understands everything comes from Krishna. Krishna is behind everything. He will maintain me. Next verse. Martyo yada tyakta samasta karma nivedit atma vichikirshito me tad amritatvam pratipatyamano mayatma bhuyayak cha kalpate vai. The living entity who is subjected to birth and death attains immortality when he gives up all material activities, dedicates his life to the execution of my order, and acts according to my directions. In this way he becomes fit to enjoy the spiritual bliss derived from exchanging loving mellows with me. So the living entity is subjected to birth and death. Yes, we are subjected to birth and death. Birth, okay, we are done now with birth. So death is coming next. And after the death is coming another birth. And in between, a life of karmic reactions. But all that, which is understood by a devotee to be not an ideal situation. This is not ideal. We are so used to it, so we think it's okay. But actually, from a spiritual point of view, for the soul, which we are, it's that aham brahmasmi. This is a real self-understanding. Aham brahmasmi. I'm spiritual, completely spiritual. The body is not spiritual. So this is not who I am. So this is not an ideal situation, but this we can reach this ideal situation. He said here, we can attain immortality. You can attain a state where you will never die. You will never die. And this is when we surrender to Krishna, who frees us from all of that. And we attain complete spiritual bliss. Complete spiritual bliss. Complete happiness. Ecstasy. Who wants to be happy? You want to be happy? You have to do something for it. If you're not happy, you cannot say, oh, I'm not happy, everything's so, the world treats me so bad. No, it's your own fault. Not happy, your fault. Very heavy. We are so heavy here. No mercy. Yeah? Not happy? Your fault. We always say, no, it's not my fault. It was his fault that I'm not happy. It's my wife's fault that I'm not happy. It's my boss's fault that I'm not happy. It's the weather's fault that I'm not happy. Go outside now. Is it nice? No? No. It's not nice, and it's starting to become more not nice. It's just the beginning of not nice. The cold, no? All of you who stay a little longer in Germany, you know, it will get colder. This is just the beginning of hell. We're just standing on the entrance of the hell, of the white hell. Yeah. So, it's not the fault of the weather that you are not happy. It's the fault that Yeah, just take a jacket, everything fine. Yeah, you can do something. And in general, the situation is like this, that we in the material world is by our karma. So it's our fault, we've done it. But we can change it. And there's a very easy way to change it. We have to just surrender to Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is the most important book for that. And everything is written there. And we have to just do that what is written in Bhagavad Gita. We do that and everything will be fine. If you don't do that, okay, we can lament. So, purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 11:29-34. Krishna was advising his most confidential servant, Uddhava, about Sambandha, Abhideya, and Parayojana. This concerned one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the activities of that relationship, as well as the perfection of life. The Lord also described the characteristics of confidential devotees. Text 104. Ebe sadhan bhakti lakshan shuna sanatan yaha haite pai Krishna prema mahadan. Now, my dear Sanatan, please now hear about the regulative principles for the execution of devotional service. By this process, one can attain the highest perfection of love of God, which is the most desirable treasure. So now will come a verse which is very, very important. It's written on the board, so we can chant it together, which is a verse from Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, from the first, direction, the first chapter, you can say, 122, it's verse 122, which defines sadhana bhakti. So it is a very important terminology in our tradition, sadhana bhakti, meaning devotional service, bhakti yoga, according to rules and regulations or according to a certain procedure, a practice, let's say like this, bhakti in practice. Yeah. So this is the verse, it gives the definition for bhakti in practice. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya. Bhavasa sadhana bida. Bhavasa sadhana bida. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya. Prakatyam ridi sadhyata. Prakatyam ridi sadhyata. Okay, someone wants to chant. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya. Bhavasa sadhana bida. Nita siddhasya bhavasya. Prakatyam riti sadhyata. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya. Bhavasa sadhana bida. Nitya siddhasya bhavasya. Prakatyam riti sadhyata. Vaishnavis? Kriti sadhya, which is to be executed by the senses. Bhavet, should be. Sadhya bhava, by which love of Godhead is acquired. Sa, that. Sadhana abhida, called sadhana bhakti or devotional service in practice. Nitya Siddhasya, which is eternally present. Bhavasya, of love of Godhead. Prakatyam, the awakening. Riddhi, in the heart. Sadhyata, potentiality. Translation. When transcendental devotional service, by which love for Krishna is attained, is executed by the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service. Such devotion eternally exists within the heart of every living entity. The awakening of this eternal devotion is the potentiality of devotional service in practice. Purport. This verse is found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 122. Because living entities are minute atomic parts and parcels of the Lord, devotional service is already present within them in a dormant condition. Devotional service begins with Shravana, Kirtana, hearing and chanting. When a man is sleeping, he can be awakened by sound vibration. Therefore, every conditioned soul should be given the chance to hear the Hare Krishna mantra chanted by a pure Vaishnava. One who hears the Hare Krishna mantra thus vibrated is awakened to spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness. In this way, one's mind gradually becomes purified, as stated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. When the mind is purified, the senses are also purified. Instead of using the senses for sense gratification, the awakened devotee employs the senses in the transcendent loving service of the Lord. This is the process by which dormant love for Krishna is awakened. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamahang Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah, so this was a very important verse. Yeah, it's a very important verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which defines sadhana, bhakti. And it said here, Kriti Sadhya Bhavet Sadhya Bhava. So, Sadhanabhida. Sadhanabhida means the definition of sadhana or explanation of sadhana. What is called sadhana? So, what is called sadhana? The first two lines say that. Kriti Sadhya, meaning a practice by activities or a practice itself. Prabhupada says executed by the senses. So, that what is done by the senses, this activity, in context of spiritual life, of devotional service, which produces bhava, sadhya. Sadhya means also the goal. So a certain practice or activity which has this bhava as a goal is called sadhana. Yeah? So it's quite simple. Yeah? And this bhava is nitya siddhasya. It's eternal and siddha is perfect. That what is attained is eternal and perfect. That's why Prabhupada says, in one sense, it's not created. By the practice, this what you want to attain, this bhava, is not created. First, what is bhava? Bhava means just love of Godhead. Let's say like this: love, pure love of Godhead, and higher state of consciousness. And consciousness where you understand yourself as being a soul, eternal. You have no identification with the body, with the material situation. You understand you are an eternal living entity, and your consciousness is Krishna consciousness. You are fully aware of Krishna. You're fully aware of God, and you have a relationship with Him, and you love Him. You have intense happiness, or how to say, love for God. Yeah. So this is what is the goal: love of Godhead, higher consciousness, pure love, not love anymore for material things, only for Krishna. So, and there's a certain practice, and kriti, the word kriti is also connected with the root for the word karma. So the word means activity. So there are certain activities in a spiritual context, in a devotional context, which are done, as Prabhupada says, by the senses, which produce a higher consciousness. Yeah? So through the sense activities, consciousness is manipulated in such a way that there comes this Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So, and because this Krishna consciousness is eternal, it's spiritual, it cannot be created, Rupa Goswami says here, Nitya Siddhasya. It's eternal, perfect. It's actually not created by the activity. It is already there, so to say. Yeah, it's already there. And Prabhupada says it's dormant in the heart. And why? Because the soul, being spiritual, being part of God, has the same capacity as God. Just to a minute degree, but still it has the same capacity. Right now, the soul, the Jiva, is in this corrupted situation in the material world where it just forgot his real nature. But actually the real nature is this spiritual nature. So in the technical detail, when Prabhupada says it's dormant in the heart, what does it actually mean? Because before I don't know if it was before, it will be explained, in a very important verse where they said that devotional service starts when, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, the seed of bhakti is given in the heart of the devotee. Too fast? Okay, yeah? Yeah, so, where it said, Pramanda konye, what is it? Pramanda konye bhagavan chira, Guru Krishna prasade bhakti lata bija. Yeah? So where it said that the living entity which is kind of lost in the material world, the souls are lost in the material world, yeah, searching after God, wandering through the whole reality of the material existence, and by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, this living entity gets the seed of devotional service. Guru Krishna prasade bhaya bhakti lata bija. Yeah. It gets the bija, the seed for devotional service, which means it wasn't there before. But Prabhupada says here it was there before. It's dormant in the heart, it's always there. So how is it? Is it there or not? And actually on this point, there are many discussions amongst Vaishnavas. And actually there are different traditions which take this or that side, which is normal. There are always fractions and discussions in any field of knowledge and different sides. Maybe you are working in some field where you know there are different discussions, maybe in a scientific field or political field or whatever, and there are different sides and people have different convictions and then to discuss about the same thing but from different points of view. And in religious field, this is there also. So there is not one religion as we know. There are so many religions. But if you ask what are the religions of the world? What are the world religions? Okay, we say Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Judaism, Buddhism. Which is absolutely not true. Yeah? There is no Hinduism. There is no Buddhism. There is no Christianity. There is no Islam. There are so many Christianities which at times are at war with each other. As we know from Ireland, as example, where the Catholics and the Protestants are killing each other over actually theological things, or the Sunnis and the Shiites killing each other over just theological convictions. And so there's not one religion, there are many different fractions. And also in Hinduism, of course, there are so many. Of course, there's no Hinduism, there's only Sanatana Dharma. But, and then there are Vaishnavas. And there are so many different Vaishnavas. And then we are part of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And there are actually so many different Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And why are there so many different ones? Because of theological differences, or even maybe even not differences. Often these are nuances. These are nuances. And this one, what I mentioned here now, is one of these. Actually, it's a nuance. It's not actually a huge difference, but some make out of the nuance a difference. And it becomes a whole issue of philosophical, theological discussion. But this is one point. Is the bhakti already in the heart or not? And Prabhupada over and over says, more or less, yes, bhakti is already in the heart. It's dormant in the heart. It's reawakened by devotional process, as he explained here also. But at the same time, Prabhupada says, bhakti is given in the heart through this bhakti lata bija, which was not there. So actually it's not in the heart. Actually bhakti is not in the living entity. It's given by Guru, and then he can start his devotional life. So obviously this is now a contradiction. Yeah? And there, as I said, there are traditions which take more this side and some more this side. And I tried to resolve that contradiction, and I think I resolved it, at least for myself. So I don't know if you are interested in my resolving of the issue. Maybe say, oof, who are you, I take my, But I resolved it like this, that both is true. Bhakti is present in the heart, and bhakti is not present in the heart. Different points of view. Different points of view. So, and I take the analogy which is given here, which is that of a seed. So, bhakti, being in the seed, can only sprout on fertile grounds. You might have the most potent seed, a very powerful seed of some nice plant, very expensive maybe, some old seed with wonderful genetic content and whatever. But if you drop it here on the floor, it will just, dry up, die. Anyway, seeds live a long time. But over some time they can also die, kind of. It will not work at all. In the same way, bhakti seeds sown on, not fertile grounds or on barren fields will not produce any plant or fruit. So when Prabhupada says bhakti is already in the heart, for me, I understand he means like the fertile ground. Every jiva has the potential for bhakti. It's not really there right now, but when the powerful seed is given, immediately will fructify. In that sense, bhakti is a fusion of two elements. Right? It needs this implantation, but at the same time it needs also the receptivity of the person or the soul. And then bhakti can sprout in the soul. So for me it sounds always that Prabhupada tends to focus more on the fertility as being, or the potential of a soul to develop bhakti as being bhakti dormant. Being dormant, this means the dormant state, this fertility, so to say. Yeah? And some focus more on the point, no, bhakti is not in the heart because it's the seed, is the bhakti. But in the end, actually, both is the bhakti, right? Both is the bhakti. Bhakti can work only in this combination. So Prabhupada says this very nicely here, that when there is a chanting of a pure devotee, then this is, Prabhupada says here, actually this is the giving of the seed. Yeah? One who hears the Hare Krishna mantra thus vibrated is awakened to spiritual consciousness. Yeah? By the Hare Krishna mantra chanted by pure Vaishnava. Yeah? So this is the giving of the seed, just the chanting of a pure Vaishnava. Yeah? And for us it's also the books of Prabhupada and the initiation. This actually, sometimes Prabhupada even said, reading my books is initiation. It's true. It's true. There's initiation. When you read Prabhupada's books, you get initiated. Initiating, we say diksha. Yeah, diksha. But what is diksha? Diksha, according to Jiva Goswami, means divya jnana. And divya jnana means divine knowledge. Divine knowledge. So initiation is not sitting at the fire, throwing grains inside and or getting a name. Yeah, this is not initiation. This is just a confirmation of your initiation. It's the confirmation. Like when you go to school or university in America, they do it in a grand way when you go in this black dress with the hats and they get their certificate, right? This is, oh, now I am a master or bachelor or doctor or something. No, it's just a confirmation that what you learned, it was approved, and now you get this confirmation. Yeah, it's true, you understood. In the same way, the initiation is just a confirmation that you understood. That's why you can say, oh, I've promised 4 regulative principles and chant 16 rounds, because you understood what you're doing. So initiation, according to Jiva Goswami, is divine knowledge, which you got, what you realized. So when we read Prabhupada's books, this is this divya jnana, we get this spiritual knowledge. Of course, it needs the Sangha, it needs the Guru to really go deep. Yeah? But the central is, of course, the knowledge, Veda. Now, we also say Guru Sadhu Shastra. Is that what we need for understanding what is true, what is not true? But central is Shastra. The Guru only teaches Shastra, and the Sadhus only teach Shastra. So Shastra, the knowledge is most important. But it needs, of course, the proper vehicle, often in form of Guru, that we understand it. Yeah. So this is the initiation. This is when when the soul gets this divine knowledge. This is the seed what we receive in the heart, and then the whole process works. And it seems like as Prabhupada says, that it was already there before. But as I said, yeah, it was there. It was not there. It needs two factors, just like this. So, and in this verse we hear in the third line, in the fourth line, Prakatyam Riddhi Sadhyata. This Prakatyam means revelation or manifestation, awakening in the heart. Yeah? So this is what Prabhupada says, focuses here. Now, in the heart, it's awakened, it's manifested, but that what is already eternally there. Nitya Siddhasya Bhavasya. So eternally there is the potentiality of the soul to become a devotee, to get free from material identification, to come to the truth. And at the same time, that bhakti itself, which is given as a seed, is nitya and siddha. Meaning the bhakti itself is eternal. It's not created by the bhakta in the process of devotional service. Yeah? That's also an important point. That's why it says nitya siddhasya. It's perfect and it's eternal. It's not created, because nothing is created in the end. Because everything is Krishna and Krishna's energy. Nothing is created. So this was concerning this verse. And now I want to speak about the practical application of this verse. Because this is just the first step in the process, which is called sadhana. Sadhana bhakti is the first step, meaning you understand the perfection, the sadhya, the goal is becoming a pure devotee of God, having love for Krishna, real love for Krishna, and sadhana bhakti is that process which brings you there. And sadhana bhakti, as explained here, is done by the senses, or it is also done by, it's done by the senses, meaning chanting, hearing, remembering, doing puja. And actually, in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, in the second chapter, then Rupa Goswami will give a whole list what is sadhana bhakti. Actually, he says Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Because after this verse, he says there are three kinds, before he says there are three kinds of bhakti. There's sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. And sadhana bhakti itself has two divisions. One is called Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and the other is called Raganuga sadhana bhakti. And this Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi comes from the word vidhi, and vidhi means rules and regulations. So sadhana is that what abides, is kind of motivated by rules. Yeah? So the sadhana, which is motivated by the rules, is called sadhana, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti yoga. Meaning you understand this is right, this is good, this is what you should do because you read the books and you want to reach the supreme goal and you're convinced of that, and this is why you practice. And how can you practice? There are so many so-called angas or limbs, parts, how to do that. And he mentions like how to worship the deity, what are the rules for deity worship, to bow down, to listen to a guru, get initiation by the guru, and so many points. Yeah? Many centered around the worship of the deity. Because there are so many things you can do. You can pray, you can make puja, arati, abhishek, parikram. Yeah? So this is all sadhana bhakti yoga. All done by the senses and by a conviction, this is good, this will bring me to Krishna. It is very important to do that. This is starting point. And with time, and very other point also to that, definitely because we are Krishna Bhaktas, the hearing of the Bhagavatam is essential. Actually, in this long list, in the end, he says there are 5 practices which are most essential. So many things he mentioned, I think 64, right? 64 angas, parts, points. And he says, but 5 especially for Krishna Bhaktas, the most important. So one was the Bhagavatam, one was the chanting of the holy name, worship of the deity, association sadhu sangha, and what I forgot? Staying in the Dham, Mathura Vas. Mathura Vas. Mathura Vas means living in a holy place, preferably Mathura, Mandala, Vrindavan. Yeah. So these 5 are most essential, right? And why are they so essential? Because they are directly focused, in that sense, on Krishna and on meditation on Krishna, like Holy Name and Bhagavatam. And when we do that in the beginning in a regulated way, yeah, because we have to imbibe that, so to say. We come from a material consciousness now to a spiritual consciousness, but we are still materially conscious. Our consciousness is not purified, so we do that in a regulated way, meaning, okay, I do my sadhana, means I have to my sadhana sheet or my sadhana points, chant my 16 rounds, read in the Bhagavatam, and going to the morning program, all that, things which we do, and with time that will become imbibed. It will transform us. It will bring us to that what we want to be. And then it will be something what we kind of feel. It wanders from the head, so to say, to the heart. It's not just the rules, I have to do that, I should do that, and it becomes something we want to do, what we experience. And then the Vedic motivation switches to the Raga motivation. That's why Rupa Goswami says then there is a second form of sadhana. It's still sadhana bhakti. It's still kriti sadhya. It's still done by the senses. But the motivation why we do it is completely different. And it's also not on and off. It's not that, okay, I do sadhana bhakti and one day I wake up, I do raga bhakti. Yeah? No, it's also a switching. And that's what we can actually very early see. All the devotees start with maybe more Vedic, but then with time we experience, oh, actually there are certain practices or aspects of devotional service, which is, I don't just have to do it or should do it, I really want to do it. I feel some taste and it's very nice. Yeah, so with time, the transformation will go further and further until all aspects of devotional service are motivated by an experience and by pleasure and by that is raga. So, and then he speaks about this raga, nuga, bhakti. But he gives a very specific definition of that, where he says it's not just taste for the chanting of the holy name or that. It's a specific desire of service, yeah. Because, as I said, there are 5 aspects. Rupa Goswami says 5 of these practices are most important, and I focus on chanting of the holy name and reading Bhagavatam. Because if you do this regularly, we become familiar with Krishna, and we become familiar with Him and His devotees. And when we do this in an intense way, the transformation happens like this, that they become, through this association, we become convinced and eager to want to be also like a pure devotee in Vrindavan. Huh? Because of all this hearing and chanting, you also have experienced, oh, actually these devotees in Vrindavan, they are so nice, I really would also like to be one of them. Because you understand, actually I'm a spiritual soul and I'm meant for devotional service, and actually I should be there and not here. I should be like them and not here. Concerning being there and not here, I read yesterday in the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, in this same chapter, he speaks about moksha, liberation. And it said there are 5 kinds of moksha. Right? Everyone knows there are 5 kinds of moksha. Sayujya, Salokya, Samipya, Sarshti, and Sarupya, yes. So 5 kinds. And Sayujya means merging with God, impersonal liberation. Yeah? Then you have Sarshti, meaning you get the same opulences like the Lord. A liberation or a being in a spiritual reality where you enjoy with the opulences of the Lord. Like in Vaikuntha, you're there and wow, you can experience all the Aishwarya of Vaikuntha. It's amazing. Sarupya means you have a similar or a spiritual body as the same body as the Lord. Then Samipya means proximity, closeness to the Lord. You can be very close to the Lord. and Salokya being in the same reality, same loka as the Lord. So, and Rupa Goswami gives many verses where devotees say over and over, we don't want any of that. Which sounds crazy, because isn't Vedic knowledge all about that? Isn't Vedic knowledge all about moksha, mukti? This is why we do that, to get out of the material world, to become free from karma and samsara. Why are all these great personalities in the Bhagavatam saying, we don't want that? Yeah, what do you want then? If you don't want moksha, why are you reading Bhagavad Gita, chanting, doing puja? Why? This is because there is something else, and actually something higher. And this is called bhakti. Advanced devotee experiences in his devotional service, spiritual life, so much of Krishna that he is Atmaram, self-satisfied, and I don't want anything else. And even if Krishna comes, says, take this moksha, take this personal liberation also. He says, I'm actually fine. Hare Krishna, I'm fine. I have no desire. The devotee becomes so advanced that he wants nothing, not even liberation. And for that, these devotees are so celebrated, because they are really selfless. Yeah. So, and many verses are given, and then Rupa Goswami says, out of these 5, 4 are actually okay. They're actually part anyway of bhakti, actually. Yeah? Samipya, so yeah? Just Sayujya is complete no-go. Merging with the impersonal aspect of God, no-go, for sure. We understand it. He says, but these 4 are actually of 2 kinds. Or the motivation for these 4 are of 2 kinds. One is a desire for happiness and power. And the other is for prema. And he says, out of these 2, the one is not so counterproductive for bhakti. He doesn't say it's good, but it's not so counterproductive for bhakti, because counterproductive for bhakti is the desire for liberation. Actually, it shouldn't be there. A devotee should not have that. But one of these desires for liberation is not so counterproductive, meaning if you desire moksha, one of 4 kinds, out of a motivation of prema, when prema somewhere or other is the motivation, it's not so bad. He doesn't say it's good. Yesterday when I read it, I thought, oh, it's actually kind of good, or it's okay. But then in the next verse he says, but the real devotee does not even have that motivation. Huh? But even if you would have it, it's kind of okay-ish. Yeah. But it's not okay to have this desire, the personal liberation, out of the motivation for happiness and power. Or more or less there's some egoistic mentality. I want to go to Goloka Vrindavan to be happy there, or to see the opulences to see the glories of Krishna. If there's any kind of egoistic, selfish motivation, this is not okay. Not even these personal liberations are acceptable. But if the motivation would be prema, some or other you think, oh, if I would be there, I could serve Krishna better, yeah, I could give him more pleasure, then it's kind of okay. But better is to have no association, no desire with any moksha. You're so happy in the material reality, serving the Lord. That's why Mahaprabhu says, birth after birth, that you are perfectly happy. There's not even that desire. Rupa Goswami explains this. But back to the point. Out of these 64 angas, 5 are most essential, as I said, chanting and reading Bhagavatam, especially 10th canto, where we hear about Krishna, will work wonders in a way that we become so much associated with Vrindavan, with the devotees in Vrindavan, that we really develop a longing not to be there in the form of moksha, but to be as they are. Because the devotee reads about their love to Krishna and says, wow, this is so wonderful. I would like to be also one of them. And when this desire, this more or less desire, it's not just a speculation, it should be a desire. Actually it says lupta. Lupta means eagerness, grief, striving. If this is in the devotee, in this specific way, then this Raganuga starts. Because Raganuga is not just taste for devotional service, it's appreciation for these devotees and an identification with their love and a real longing to be one of them, meaning to be a servant of them. Not to be, again, or to enjoy like them, no, but to be a servant of them. Oh, I really would like to be a servant of Mother Yashoda. I read about her wonderful love to baby Krishna, or when she runs after Damodar, or all that. Wow, I want to serve Mother Yashoda, and that would be so great. Or I read about Radharani and about the gopis, and you want to serve them in their wonderful pastimes with the Lord. And Rupa Goswami says, when this specific desire is there in the devotee, Raganuga starts. This is when there's the switch, so to say, to Raganuga is done. From Vaidhi to Raganuga is like done. Yeah? And then the devotee, because Raganuga means following the raga of these devotees, following the rag atmika devotees. Rupa Goswami is very specific, very analytical in his approach. He says when the Ragatmika devotee is this perfect devotee, and the Raganuga devotee is the one who wants to be like them, who wants to serve them. And then the devotee has a lot of eagerness and interest, devotional interest, in hearing and chanting. It's not that he will do something different then. Actually, Rupa Goswami explains, out of the 64 angas, he will still practice them, especially those who are conducive, favorable to the development of his desired goal. Yeah? And then it said the rules and regulations don't have to be followed so strictly by such a person. And sometimes neophyte, for complete illiterate devotees in these matters, think, oh, then I don't have to get up in the morning for Mangala Artik. No, it said advanced devotees don't have to follow rules and regulations. Now I can, again, smoke my cigarettes. I'm so advanced that I can smoke, and it will not hurt my bhakti because I'm so advanced. Sometimes devotees are so crazy. They think like this, yeah? They think in the name of my advancement I can become a neophyte again. Or a materialist again. No, it just means that if your bhakti, your eagerness to serve Krishna now in a personal, specific way, this can overrule rules and regulations. And I say something revolutionary, but imagine you get up in the morning and you start chanting Hare Krishna a couple of rounds before the Mangala Arati, and it becomes so ecstatic and you're so absorbed that your taste is so great that you feel, I cannot go to Mangala Arati now. Yeah, because you're chanting in your room or the ashram or something, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. This is okay then. That would be okay on that platform. You don't have to follow rules and regulations. Because you're so ecstatic with Krishna serving him, yeah, you don't have to follow all the rules and regulations, which normally in Vaidhi Bhakti you follow. But still, if you are serious and say, no, I will still go to Mangala Arati to be example for the other devotees. Yeah, this is what Prabhupada did. And Prabhupada very often did that. Prabhupada would not even have to put his hand into a bead pack. He's chanting anyway all the time. He doesn't need rules and regulation. This is a rule and regulation. But it's as an example, and it's very important for us. And of course, the devotee wants to touch Tulsi Devi, serve Tulsi Maharani in this way also. But still, the point is, your bhakti, rules and regulations is to bring someone to Krishna consciousness. And when you're in Krishna consciousness, these rules and regulations are fulfilled, so to say. But he will still follow the rules and regulations to lead others, yeah, when he understands that, to serve them, because this is the most important principle, Vaishnava Seva. But when he is not in such a situation, he is always in this spontaneous service to the Lord. Yeah. Normally rules and regulations are there to not fall in Maya, right? But he is above that. He cannot fall in that sense into Maya. Yeah. So, and in this, of course, the time is over now, more or less, but I wanted to read a couple of words because we want to have appreciation for the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So the best way to get it is to read the Srimad Bhagavatam and to read also books in the line of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And I want you to read a bit about from the Brihad Bhagavatamrita about Krishna's encounter with Kaliya, yeah? Which is an Actually, very intense pastime. So one day, as he was enjoying pastimes by the Yamuna's shore, Krishna, the son of Nanda, heard that Kaliya had again come to his lake. So, meaning Kaliya had again come to his lake. Somehow or other, Kaliya dared to come back. Because Krishna defeated Kaliya, but now Kaliya comes back. At once, going there alone and climbing a Kadamba tree, he dove into the lake, making the waters very turbulent. So, I don't think I wanted to read actually everything, but I think I will just, Yeah, but it's too long. I will more tell it from my remembrance. Maybe it's not so detailed then. But so Krishna is alone in the forest. Yeah. Sometimes Krishna is also alone in the forest, even though Prabhupada said Krishna is never alone, right? And sometimes devotees painted Krishna said at least a cow must be there, or a peacock, because Krishna loves his devotees. So Krishna is never alone, and even though he's alone in the forest, he's surrounded by so many devotees in form of trees and all that. But in the Bhagavatam, there's also a verse where it said Krishna wandered off alone to enjoy the beauty of Vrindavan forest. So he left kind of the cowherd boys, and he walks to the forest and, it's so beautiful here, just by himself, enjoys by himself. So here Krishna Samarada was also alone, and he recognized, Kaliya, this rascal, he came back. How dare you? And Krishna does now the same as before. He jumps into the water, in the poisonous water, because Kaliya is a snake, and he's so poisonous that the whole water in which he lives, actually he built the whole kingdom in the water, because he knows the art of, how was it called? Stamba something. I forgot, there's a certain name where you can build something out of water. You have a mystic power to make kind of water kind of solid. Well, it's not solid, it's not like ice, it's still water, but still you can form it and it stays. Right? So he built a whole kingdom out of this mystic power and was living there with his wives and, I don't know, ministers, and I don't know what else was there. Yeah? So Krishna jumps, and all this water is completely poisonous. It said even if a bird flies over the water, it falls dead in the water because of the fume which is going into the air. He's so poisonous. So Krishna jumps into the water and he splashes and swims and enjoys the water. And he said when he jumped inside, the water on the shore went 100, what was it said, bow lengths or something, some ancient measurement. So like really far into the land, he made a little flood, as if something very heavy fell into the lake. And Krishna is not heavy because he's just a small cowherd boy. But Krishna is heavy because he's the Supreme Lord. So when Kaliya heard that, someone dares to swim in my water, this is my kingdom, this is my lake. Sometimes we also think like this. How can you come into my room or my house or my garden? Or this is my. So he came up he dived up, saw Krishna and wanted to attack Krishna. Krishna kind of swam in a circle. He could not catch. Krishna can swim very fast. Swimming is not easy to be fast in the water. Anyway, so in the end, Kaliya caught him. Kaliya caught little Krishna and took him in his coils. And Krishna couldn't move. He was like captured, trapped. And in this story of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, I said there was an old man walking by. And he saw that. And he was shocked. Oh no, Krishna! And he ran to Vrindavan. And he was telling the devotees that happened there, far away. He could not even speak proper words. He could not form full sentences. And the devotee said, what is it? Is it just Krishna, danger, snake? And when the devotees heard that, like Madan, Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and it was like a thunderbolt hitting their head. They were shocked because they love Krishna so much, and if Krishna is in danger, then what could be worse than that? And there were terrible omens. In the Bhagavatam, it said they recognized that because there were terrible omens in Vrindavan. It became dark and the wind was blowing and the jackals were howling and all the bad omens which are there. So they understood, oh no, something bad is happening to Krishna. Yeah. So, but there this old man told them, and they ran to the shore, and there they saw how Krishna was in the coils of Kalia, and he was even unconscious. It was just. And when they saw that, of course, they were very, very perturbed and fearful, and they were crying. He said the animals, they were already there. All the animals, the cows and the deer and the peacocks and the parrots, and all were screaming and crying. You know, the cows were mooing, moo, moo. Everyone was like in complete, how to say, shock and something, Krishna, Krishna. So we can see already, these devotees take Krishna quite serious, right? And when we hear that more and more, we also get it. We get the same point, and we also become serious about Krishna. And this is when they will say, wow, such love for Krishna. I actually also want that. I want to love Krishna also. I don't want to be the egoistic rascal that I am now. I want to be, my heart should be filled with love for Krishna, remembrance of Krishna, and service attitude as these devotees. Because Mother Yashoda was not thinking, oh, this is very bad now, Krishna is there, what can I do? Oh, the water is so poisonous, I cannot go inside. No, actually also Nanda Maharaj, they wanted to run inside the poisonous water, and the other coward men had to hold them. If you do that, you die, this water is so poisonous. They said, I don't care, I want to save my boy. Yeah. So there was a whole drama scene, and because this is so intense, and because there's so much feeling for Krishna, it's really transported through these descriptions. And when a devotee reads that, because we don't just read, we also meditate on this. And this is such a powerful katha that, as I said, we experience it too. The rasa jumps over. Yeah. And that's why a devotee has to do this continuously. Because sometimes a lecture like this, oh yeah, nice, 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 but then because we are not strong enough, this consciousness doesn't keep up. We have to go really deep into hearing about Krishna, hearing these pastimes and then chanting Hare Krishna in such a mood. And with time, as I said, we come from Vaidhi to Raga, naturally. Anyway, so Krishna was then the chorus, everyone was crying, and Balaram was there, and I said even Balaram was a little bit confused or what to do, but then understood, no, Krishna will manage, and he pacified everyone. And then when Krishna saw, now it's too much for all of them. Now it's too much for all of them. I cannot torture them like this anymore. He kind of woke up and moved himself out. His arms were spread. He was free. And he jumped on the head of the Kaliya snake, who has actually many heads. And what was Krishna doing then? Huh? Hey, he was dancing, yeah. He was dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. And every time the Kaliya snake's head wanted to come up to bite him, he jumped on this in a very graceful way. But the step was so heavy on Kaliya's head. He said, oh my God, my head will explode. And the next head comes up and Krishna lands on this and that and jumps. And all the demigods, they saw that. And they played wonderful music to it. Because where was the music? Dancing means music. The demigods were playing music. And they were like in a theater where you have behind the scenes, you have the lights and the music and all that. So they made a certain light, they made the music, the atmosphere they created for Krishna's dramatic performance on stage. And then Krishna did something very, very special, what no one could see. Nanda Maharaj could not see that. He invited the gopis. You want to dance? Because Krishna dances with the gopis. Normally in Ras Leela, this is a good situation. And all the gopis came, and he danced with the gopis on Kaliya's head. But this no one could see. He made it invisible because Krishna and the gopis is a secret. Yeah. Yashoda thinks, oh, Radharani would be the perfect wife for my little Krishna. She thinks like that, but she does not know that they actually have a romance. No? Everyone thinks Radha and Krishna, they would fit perfectly to each other, but so sad that it is not. It doesn't know that actually it is. Yeah. So we did dancing, and then when Kaliya was completely finished, Krishna helped the gopis down. They enjoyed it so much, they were so happy. So from the gopis' torment of Krishna being like almost dying to dancing with Krishna and Kali, right? This is called ein Wechselbad der Gefühle. you say in German, ein Wechselbad der Gefühle. Because Wechselbad means you're from a cold water to hot water and back. It's very healthy, actually. Yeah. And then Krishna stepped down and came out, and all the devotees ran to Krishna and hugged him. We're so happy to have him back, and we're so ecstatic. And this is why you need the Vipralamba and Sambhoga. The separation from Krishna and then to be together with Krishna. And this is in Vrindavan the modus operandi, being together with Krishna, being separated, and this is how devotees enjoy their association, their Sangha with Krishna. Yeah. And when we hear about this and read about that and meditate upon that, with time, not with time, depending on our intensity, we will develop an eagerness, oh, I really would like to be also one of those two. I really want to serve them. And this is another stage than devotional service. And then when this further progresses, there starts meditation on the spiritual form in service to Krishna also. Rupa Goswami says, Siddha Rupa. In a spiritual form, you meditate in a spiritual form, and then the Bhakti Yoga gets more and more absorbed. Yeah? Until the devotee comes to the next stage, it's called Bhava Bhakti, when there's the real transformation from material to spiritual. Because all that is still sadhana. In one sense, it's not material, but still in the material sphere. But when Bhava Bhakti comes, then everything is finished. Yeah. And from Bhava, then when this ripens completely into Prema. But Bhava is already then a spiritual. Their spiritual identity is there. Yeah. Your relationship with Krishna is there. Matter is overcome. And then it starts to just manifest into complete Prema. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your kind attention. Any questions or comments? I know it's a little bit late, but maybe there's some comment.
I remember when I was looking a little bit at Brihad Bhagavatamrita once, and there were different levels of prema, or let's say different levels of liberated devotees. And one was Jnana Bhakta, then Shuddha Bhakta, and then, if I remember correctly, in Ayodhya it started with, they are called Prema Bhaktas, and then it's higher and higher, and it's all something with Prema. And I remember that the Pandavas, they have no interest in devotional service. They have only interest in Krishna. Like, they're only interested in that relationship. And you reminded me of this, like it's that shift, like rules and regulations or some kind of sadhana. And then at one point it doesn't exist anymore. It exists, but it's not something to be practiced. They just...
Yeah, when love is there,
exactly,
it's not to be practiced because love is there. Yeah. So as long as we practice, means it's not, maybe to some degree there, but then it's completely there. Yeah. So now we practice to love Krishna. We learn to love Krishna. Yeah, I don't remember this. You mean with Gopa Kumar or Narada Muni?
That was a description in the purport.
No, but I mean the stages, what you said now, because the chapters are... Just in the purport, okay.
At least what I was...
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, very important book, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Very wonderful book. Very wonderful. Actually, all our Shastras are so wonderful, isn't it? Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, is all perfect. Good. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kantara Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Dvadashi Mahavrata ki jai. Let's break the fast.